All right, so we give praise, esteem, and honor to the Elohim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. We pick it up in John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life. And there they which testify of me, and you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you. The Abba, there is one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? So praise be to Yahuwah. Psalms 87. A psalm, what it is. His foundation is in the Kadash mountains. Yahuwah loved the gates of Zion more than all the dwellings of Jacob. Esteemed things are spoken of you, O city of Elohim, Selah. I will make mention of Rahab and Babylon to them that know me. And behold, Philistia, Tyre, and Ethiopia, this was born there. And of Zion it shall be said, this and that man was born in her, and the highest himself shall establish her. Yahuwah shall count, and when he write up the people, this was born there, Selah, as well as the singers on the players of the instruments, all my springs in you. So again, praise be to the living Elohim in the name of Yahushua. Let's go around here to Lamentations chapter 3. Lamentations 3 and 1. Shalom, man. Boy, you had that Rona, boy? I seen you talking to good old Jerome. Or you just had the flu? I think Jerome said he had the flu. What? 3 and 1. I told you I can't do that with you, son. I can't focus on you keeping up and doing what I got to do. You have to participate with that with somebody else. You can't expect me to do that. Yeah, I won't be able to assist you. Not consistently. So I am the man that have seen affliction by the rod of his wrath. He have led me and brought me into darkness, but not in the light. See, Paul, this is the verse I was talking about the other day in Job 34. Come over here to Job 34. Little Joe, cut it out. Oh, boy, so he did have that wrong. I had him down for about a week. East. Yeah. I mean, now everybody getting everything. Some niggas getting the cold. Some niggas getting corona. Some niggas getting the flu. You know what I'm saying? Because I think they just said that a dude who played quarterback for the Ravens, that he'll play tomorrow, even though he got, because they call it a non-COVID illness. Because like Steph Curry had it a couple weeks ago, had the flu. And they were like, shoot, he had the flu, he had corona. Shoot. Well, you know, that junk running rampant. And all the sports teams, I think they said the Celtics got like 9 niggas in protocol right now. The Lakers had to sign a nigga who was retired to come and play on a 10-day contract. They say even the Saints hit up Drew Brees and Phillip Rivers and say, can you come in on an emergency contract just for this one game? Yeah, that junk running rampant through them boys, man. You know, them boys can't come play. Job 34, man, you can pick it up at verse 13. You can make it you can make it 9, actually. Shalom, man. Job 34 and 9. Verse 9 ain't what I want, but I'll tell you the verse what it is, though. For he said it profited man nothing that he should delight himself in Elohim. So again, right, we started off looking at that verse in Lamentations. Shoot, it ain't about not believing it. See, that's one thing you got to get to. Boy, people getting sick. Now, whether they got corona or not, it's hard to tell the difference because corona is similar to the flu. You know what I'm saying? Don't think that people not getting that junk because they doggone show getting it. They may not be dying because I seen it. It was a wrestler, bro. They had his cause of death. They said this nigga died of a heart attack, diabetes complications, and corona. Nigga, which one was it? You know what I'm talking about? He died from 3 different things. I didn't know you could die from 3 different things. I think he probably died from the diabetes complications. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I mean, he had it. The nigga also was fat and had diabetes complications. Sean say 3 of his managers got it. You know what I'm saying? They made everybody wear a mask on the job. Saran said he just don't believe half of it. I'm like, nah, nigga catching something. You know what I'm talking about? Shalom, man. They definitely catching something. You know what I'm talking about? And he just sit and tell you, he tell you, shoot, nigga, he caught something. You know what I'm talking about? Shoot, nigga, I was sick. You can sit here and debate about it all you want to. Niggas is getting sick, boy. You know what I'm talking about? Tell him, my dog definitely died from it because that's what he had. You know what I'm talking about? He ain't had nothing else wrong with him other than him being fat. That junk hit his fat behind and ravaged his respiratory system. Yeah. Yeah, that junk killed Big Joe. You know what I'm talking about? He was cool. That junk. No, it's a respiratory illness, man. But shoot, them lungs ain't good. Bop, bop, bop. You'll be out of here. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, you kind of look at it as not believing it. They might exaggerate it. Boy, who will get people out of here whichever way he see fit. I use this Rona, I use this flu, I lose this bullet. You're going to drop, you're going to get up out of here. Ain't that right, Mike? All right. 34:9. For he have said it profited a man nothing that he should delight himself with Elohim. Therefore, hearken unto me, you men of understanding, far be it from Elohim and the Almighty. What's he got on there that he should do wickedness, and from the Almighty that he should commit iniquity. For the work of a man shall be rendered unto him, and cause every man to find according to his ways. Yea, surely Elohim will not do wickedly, neither will the Almighty pervert judgment. Now remember, I ain't gonna tell nobody shoot. I wouldn't get a flu vaccine. He say that nigga boiled grapefruit or orange pills. He say, no. He say he know he had it, and he don't believe in their vaccines and such. But he boiled grapefruit and orange pills regularly and fought his way through. Couldn't smell or taste anything. So he definitely had it. You couldn't smell or taste. That's what you had. That nigga old though. That nigga say he boiled grapefruits and orange pills. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, you get all the vitamins out of that. You know, it might take you a little longer to get through it. Sure, yeah. Can't say nothing about that. Now remember, right? We read in that Lamentations 3:1. He said, "I fell victim to your wrath and the rod of your affliction." When you sit back and you look at it, right? I think Paul wrote in one of his epistle letters, "We're fools for Mashiach's sake." A lot of individuals will look at it and think that the Almighty is perverting judgment and doing iniquity because he is allowing you to suffer. Doesn't make sense to a lot of people when they see it. Let's continue. He said, "Who have given him charge over the earth? Who have disposed the whole world? If he set his heart upon man, he gathered unto himself his ruach and his breath. All flesh shall perish together, and man shall return again unto the dust. If now you have understanding, hear this, hearken to the voice of my words. Shall even he that hate right govern, and shall you condemn him that is most just?" Well, let's sit there and think about that. What comes to your mind when you hear this verse 16? No, excuse me, verse 17. Verse 17. Michael. Yeah. That was just because it would make you uncomfortable. You don't have to answer. I mean, you can answer, but you didn't have to answer right now. Verse 17. Does anything come to your mind when you see verse 17? 34. Madeline, don't nobody want to hear you fart. Don't nobody want to hear you fart. Nobody want to hear that. That funny to you? Oh. She not farting. Believe you know how to talk.
I just said just like it.
You lost some teeth? How many teeth you lost? You act like I ain't known you your whole life. How many teeth you done lost? Well, fine, then you ain't got to be my friend. What you say now? You didn't say that with much confidence.
I'm confident.
Are you? How confident are you on a scale of 0 to 100? That's the highest. What if you was wrong?
I'm still confident.
You ain't wrong. But let's deal with this one here. How would you be able to, well, of course you couldn't explain it to nobody. How would you explain it to yourself that they that hate right govern? So you don't go over things and explain it to yourself?
Yeah, I do.
All right then. So this is not a foreign concept. Y'all try to make me feel like I was crazy. I might be.
All right.
Shoot, I ain't ashamed. I don't care if y'all niggas think I'm crazy. I'm gonna still go to sleep good at night. Say, Pilot. Now listen, look at it again. Shall even he that hate right govern? Pilate didn't condemn.
Well, the people condemned him under Pilate.
So Pilate didn't hate right and was ruling. Pilate was ruling anyway.
People did.
Yeah, there's the people who were in power that hated, because they was the ones governing over. You know what I'm saying? You know, you had power with the Romans, but when it came to our day-to-day operations, the Romans pretty much left you alone. You know what I'm saying? See, contrary to popular belief, let me say, not even say that, because we're not accustomed to that. I'll give you an example in modern day times. You could take a country like Jamaica. Jamaica is under British rule, but they pretty much run their day-to-day operations without interference from them people. You know what I'm talking about? So when you look at when we were in the land under the Roman authority, the Romans had authority over us, but when it came to day-to-day operations, the people pretty much left you alone. You know what I'm saying? You pretty much could do what you wanted to do. They didn't come in there and tell them people you couldn't keep Sabbath, or you couldn't do this, or you couldn't do that. The people say, because you got to remember the Romans had many territories under their auspices at that particular time. Let's look at what they have for hate right here. So when you have hate right here, you have mishpat. You know what mishpat is, boy? Why you don't know? I told you the other day. How you forgot?
Oh,
I'm not for real. I ain't tell you that.
I think mishpat means that you're not fat.
I'll allow that. Ask your father. He said it means you're not fat. Ask your daddy what it means. See if he remembers.
What's that mean?
Your daddy don't remember. Ask Mr. Darius. See if he can tell you.
Do you remember?
It means mishpat means judgment. Mishpat is a Hebrew word. It means judgment. You know what judgment is, son?
You get judged.
No. That's not what that means. That's not what that means. That's what shafat means.
Oh.
Mishpat means ordinance. See, look, judgment, justice, the act of deciding a case, execution.
I'll use it for judgment.
Yeah, when you're dealing with judgment, it means knowing right from wrong, making good decisions.
That means.
Do you make good decisions? So that means you have bad judgment. So if you make good decisions, what's that going to mean?
Good judgment.
So which judgment would you rather have?
Good judgment.
So that means you need to start doing what? Making good decisions. You know what happens when you make bad decisions? What happens? No, you get judged. And then you may go to hell. See, you can get judged and not go to hell.
Oh.
See, when you make a bad decision and say you get popped or you get sent to your room or something, that's a judgment. Judgment got rendered upon you. That's what they decide what punishment they're going to give you according to your violation. Do you make many violations? Violations means breaking the rules. You would break the rules a lot.
Sometimes.
No, do you break the rules a lot?
Well, not that much. Not that much.
Well, then you say, no, I don't break the rules a lot.
Don't break the rules.
Do you break rules?
Sometimes I will.
Why do you choose to break the rules? Do you not care about the judgment?
Well, I don't break rules.
Huh?
Well, I don't break rules. I just don't listen.
So you're breaking the rules.
Uh,
That boy said, I don't break rules. I just don't listen. I'm be honest with you. Not listening is probably worse than breaking the rules. You know what that means when you don't listen?
Disobey.
No, that means you're a proud, arrogant bastard. Do you know what it means to be arrogant? That means nobody can't tell you nothing. You know what it means to be proud?
Be happy.
No, not like that cartoon. Proud means you're stubborn.
Oh.
You know how Yahuwah feel about proud, arrogant people? He finds them to be abominable. You know what an abomination is? It's something Yahuwah hates. So that means if you're proud or arrogant, Yahuwah hates you. Yes, that doesn't sound too pleasant, now does it? I didn't think so. So what does that tell you you should do?
Get good judgment.
Exactly. Which means you should start doing what?
Making good decisions.
And doing what else?
Stop breaking the rules.
And what else?
Obey.
And what else? Listen. Follow directions. Because you said you don't listen, right? You say you don't break the rules, you just don't listen. That's what you said, right? Then that means you need to listen.
Oh.
You got to learn consequences. You don't know what's consequences for your choices, boy?
I don't know consequences I will get.
You don't know what consequences you'll get. Or you don't know what consequences means.
I know that it means that you'll get in trouble.
Consequence don't necessarily mean you'll get in trouble. Consequence, by definition, is a result of an action. You can have positive consequences and you can have negative consequences. So when you make bad decisions, what type of consequences you gonna get?
Negative.
If you make good decisions, what type of consequences you gonna get?
Positive.
So which consequences sound good to you?
Positive.
So if you don't listen, what type of consequences you gonna get?
Negative.
So as a man, you have to learn that if you choose to do something, something may happen to you, and you don't get to determine what that is. So that means you don't care about the consequences when you choose not to listen. It means you roll the dice. Would that be accurate?
What does roll the dice mean?
That means you take a chance. That you may get in trouble, you may not get in trouble. You may get a whooping, you may not get a whooping. You may get yelled at, you may not get yelled at. You're willing to take that chance. Would that be a right thing to say? That means you're not very smart when it comes to that.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
What I mean is that you do things that could get you in trouble, and you make a decision and say, whatever happens to me, happens to me. And that's not very smart. Because, see, you're not an unintelligent young man. You're a smart young man, so you should be smart enough to know to not make decisions like that. Not that you're not smart, but when it comes to taking chances on getting in trouble, you're not very smart in that area. So that means you're not using your intelligence to your benefit, which makes absolutely no sense. You know what intelligence is, right?
I don't remember what it means.
It means your ability to think. You think pretty good, don't you? Well, then when it comes to making decisions, you need to think better. When you look at the word govern, it is kabosh. Kot, bot, and shan. It means to tie, to bind, to saddle, and to govern. But kot, bosh, and shan, you can give me what you got. Do you understand what I said to you? No, I'm talking about, do you understand what I just told you before I said that? About your decision making.
Oh, yeah, I understand about that.
Very well then. So I expect for you to do better then. Would you be able to tell me that you will make an attempt to be better? Do you want to be better? Be better then. Cop, Bosh, and Sean, I believe, is what I said. Let me make sure. I feel like I said something wrong. I did. And of course, if you didn't know, Sane is the word for hate. So these people hate judgment and want to rule. These people hate judgment and want to rule. So in this particular situation, because of the context of what we're looking at, you would sit back and see how the Son will consume these people. He will separate them and consume them. Let's look and see why. 1 Peter chapter 4. From 1 Peter chapter 4 to Matthew 23. Chapter 4. You can pick it up at verse 12. Madeline, why you keep walking around here? Huh? Who you think you is? Where you think you going? Stop stretching out your clothes, boy. Stop stretching out your clothes. 1 Peter 4 and 12. Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial, which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you. Rejoice inasmuch as you are partakers of Mashiach's suffering, which this will be relevant again when we get to Lamentation chapter 3. That when his esteem shall be revealed, you may be glad also with exceeding joy. If you be reproached for the name of Mashiach, happy are you, for the ruach of esteem and of Elohim rest upon you, and on their part he is evil spoken of, but on your part he is esteemed. But let none of you suffer as a murderer, or as a thief, or as an evildoer, or as a busybody in other men's matters. Yet if any man suffer as a Yahudim, let him not be ashamed, but let him esteem Elohim on this behalf. For the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of Elohim. And if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the good news of Elohim? See, this is because you know right now, every single solitary brew all across the country gonna be talking about how these Christians is keeping Christmas today and all this extra stuff. But look at what he told you. Judgment gonna start where? Where did he say it would start at? Now, what verse would you be able to justify from Genesis to Malachi that judgment first would start at the house of Elohim? Does anyone know? It's not Ezekiel 12. That is correct, but it's not Ezekiel 12. Not Ezekiel 9 either. Yeah, you minus one and you'll be good to go. It's 8. Oh, you don't recall when he say start at my sanctuary and don't touch nobody who got the mark in their forehead? Didn't I? Thought it was 8. Well, shoot, maybe it is. You know what I'm saying? For sure. It's chapter 9. Darius says this. I'll take his word for it. Y'all don't recall that? You recall that? You recall that, Michael? You don't know, do you? You don't remember that. Michael, you know what I'm talking about? Of course you don't. No. I'm not asking anyone. But yes, that's where that's located at. Did he go off to the nations and kill them? What about Amos chapter 3? Do y'all know what it says about that in Amos chapter 3? Amos 3 and 3. Find it and read it, boy. I want you to read it out loud. Move swiftly. Well, you better shoot. You know how to use a table of contents. I'm not telling you where it's at. I ain't showing you where it's at. How old are you? You know how to read, don't you? You know how to use a table of contents, don't you? All right, then. Get it together and make it right. Tighten up, man. Book of Amos. What page is it on?
But see,
You ain't looking hard enough. You better look at that table of contents again. You're supposed to scan the table of contents. You rush, because I'm not finna find it for you. Look in the table of contents and take your time and stop speeding. Look for Amos.
no,
What?
you said no, it's your name.
I said Amos. You see Amos? You even know how to spell Amos. Oh, that's probably what's messing you up. Start with a letter A. You ain't found it yet?
No, I found most with the letter A.
Starts with the letter A. You're not focusing. You looking at all the letter A's that say it start with the letter A. It's only one book on there that start with the letter A, son. That's Amos. What page is it on? All right then, you playing games. Y'all bear with me, man. He finna find this in here. And I ain't finding it for him. Come on, Joe. Come on over here. I got something for you. Come on, I got something for you. Come on, I got something for you right here. Come on. Come on, Joe. Come on. Come on over here, Joe. Come on. Come on. Get over there and lay down and act properly. I got something for you right here, boy. Right here.
And
Amos chapter 3, verse 3.
can you walk together and accept?
Come on, I want you to take your time, right? I want you to read it out loud so people can hear you. Just read till I tell you to stop. I want you to go to Amos chapter 3, verse 3. I want you to read it out loud so people can hear you. I don't want you to say it softly. I want you to say it as loud as you can so people can hear you, and I want you to take your time. Can you do that? Well, go ahead. Amos 3 and 3. Tell me what it says. Matter of fact, start at verse 1 and tell me what it says. He said you want to hear the word of Yahuwah that he's spoken against the children of who?
Israel against
Michael, I done heard you before. You can talk louder than that, son.
against the which I brought from the land.
That's good. Families. For all your iniquity. This is what he reads, y'all. He say, hear this word that Yahuwah has spoken against you, O sons of Yasharal, against the whole family which I brought up for the land of Mizraim, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities. So ain't no need to be talking about, oh, these people keeping Christmas. That's none of your concern. Because judgment going to start at your front door before it get to them. Because look what he just said. Come back to 1 Peter chapter 4. He say, what shall be the end of them that obey not the good news of Elohim? What's going to be their end? Well, we already know what's going to be their end. So I'm not concerned with them. You know what I'm saying? I'm not concerned with them. You know, everybody get caught up in their feelings. These people celebrating Christmas. I hate when people say Merry Christmas to me. Nigga, get out your feelings. Like you walking around here like they know who you is and what you want. These people don't know. Most of these people just being friendly. You know what I'm saying? They just assume everybody celebrate Christmas. This gets white folks and certain niggas in a good mood. They want to talk to everybody, especially if you're living in the South. You know what I'm talking about? Niggas already talk to you. You in the South, everybody. Nigga, my auntie Kathy just sent me a text talking about Merry Christmas. I said, the audacity, you funky whore. I don't mess with that hoe. That hoe told my brother dead to her face, your daddy ain't got no affairs. He dead. Nigga, she can eat doodle and die. You know what I'm talking about? That nigga can't tell me Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, hello, goodbye, none of that. I just told you. But she took my daddy money and didn't want to pay for his own funeral. And when we say we need the money for my daddy affair, she said, your daddy dead, he ain't got no affair. So screw you. You know what I'm talking about? And she quite possibly about to kill him and my grandma. So man, bump you. You know what I'm talking about? Hit my phone, talking about no doggone nigga ain't heard from you since that man died. That man died in 2017. Get the money gone. You know what I'm talking about? Shoot, my brother should have got some of that money, man. My brother should have got about 50 bands out of that. And they tried to take the pension from my retarded brother. But luckily, he was able to get his money. For real, man, my brother Chandler, he's mentally handicapped. Pops left him the pension. Champ can't take care of himself. 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 18. He said, if the righteous can scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? Wherefore let them suffer according to the will of Elohim. Wherefore let them that suffer according to the will of Elohim commit the keeping of their souls in well-doing as unto a faithful creator. See, this is what you got to understand. You got to keep your soul faithfully to Elohim if it be his will that you suffer. That's what Lamentations 3 getting us to. Let's go back over here to Job 34. I don't know what this is over here. 34 and 17 one more time. Listen what he say, right? So shall even he that hate right govern, and will you condemn him that is most just? And that's exactly what they did to Yahusha. And that's why he said, if you suffer, they speak evil on his sake, but on your sake, he is esteemed. Because you would have to understand, if you were found worthy to suffer for his name, they're not condemning and afflicting you. They're condemning and afflicting him. Recall, what did he say to Paul? Now, I want y'all to know the word for most just there. The most is kabir. That is mighty, great, powerful. And, of course, just should be Zadok here, and it is. Someone who is mighty, mightily, or greatly righteous. Remember what his name was, Pilate said about him? She said, man, when his wife came, she said, don't you condemn that just man. What did Pilate ask? What has the man done? I ain't found no wrong in him. That means he said, I find this man to be just. I ain't seen nothing unrighteous in him. And what did these people do? They said, you heard his own words. He blasphemed. They condemned the most just because they hate judgment. That's why they wanted to rule. But they want to rule, though. See, that go back to the Matthew 23 I called for, but we ain't go around that to it. You remember what he said about them people? He said they swear by the altar. He said, what's greater? The gift or the altar? Let's go look at it right now, scripture. Matthew chapter 23. Matthew 23, you can pick it up about verse 13. Madam, you got somebody to play with, huh? Little small, light-skinned, bald-headed baby. Shoot, most babies come out bald-headed. Barely. I came out with a head full of hair. Lil Muffin came out with a little small afro. Abigail came out with nothing. Huh? I don't call. I think Abigail was a little light. Abigail was a little light. Leah was average. Usually when they say they could, well, little girls, they say when they don't come out with a lot, they change when they get older. You a real bald head?
Real, like less than I'm sorry. She was a point of reference. I mean, no, she wasn't.
Was you bald headed when you was a baby?
No, I wasn't. I had full. I'm sorry, right now. She's so pretty.
Man, y'all getting upset nigga them babies, nigga.
I ain't saying nothing. I ain't saying nothing. Kalisha like.
You know what I'm saying? That's right one.
Cause you know black people don't like to tell the truth when somebody baby be ugly. I ain't that nigga. I tell that baby ugly. But you don't say that's not nice, but then y'all be sitting there looking at people cheering, know that baby ugly, and say all that junk and then get in the car later. Boy, that was an ugly baby. Yeah, you might as well just go ahead and say it right there. That's an ugly baby. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, this how niggas lie. Oh, he's so precious. Lying.
Precious. I feel like she didn't know Precious was alive.
Oh, she wasn't bald, little Muffin. I can't remember. One of them children ain't had no bunch of hair on their head. Muffin say my baby wasn't bald. Shoot, our baby might come out bald.
But you didn't know that. People be like, "Oh, he Precious." That's me. I didn't know that.
No, that's Southern old lady talk for that's an ugly baby.
I ain't never heard anybody call it.
Oh, I didn't heard that.
Huh? I did on the video. This girl said, "Man, my baby ugly." You know what I'm talking about? Sean said his second baby had Charlie Brown hair. No, I'm telling you, Cat, if you run across a black woman 55 years or older, and she be like, "Oh, that baby's so precious," she just told you your baby was ugly. I mean, that's Southern talk. People don't do that nowhere else but in the South. Nowhere but in the South. I'm just for real. I mean, I've been around old people like this here, and I be knowing like that lady think that baby ugly, but she just not gonna come out and say that's an ugly baby. So they come up with a little adjective. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, you probably.
Because when people say if they don't feel the baby ugly, look at it, he's so cute, he's so beautiful, he's so. They give you all them good adjectives. When they come with the precious and this, that, and the third, they tell you that baby ugly. Yeah, that's an ugly baby. You know what I'm saying? I feel like this here. You a Yahoo Dean. Don't lie. Don't say that you think my baby cute. I got to go to the bathroom. Tell them people that lie. What up, ball?
None of them ball. All of them got hair. Head full of it.
Shoot.
Haven't had the most.
No, Muffin ain't got a lot of hair on her head right now. You didn't say a baby's ugly? You wouldn't say that? You're a nice young man. But shoot, if they had some hair, they ain't get it from you.
Shoot, that's why. You're doing that too.
I just came because it was a late. Matthew 23 to 13. Little Muffin. Where you at, Little Muffin? 23 and 13, Matthew, let's roll. It say, "But woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you shut up the kingdom of heaven against men, for you neither go in, neither suffer you them that are entering to go in. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you devour widows' houses, and for pretense make long prayer. Therefore you shall receive the greater damnation. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, for you compass sea and land and make one proselyte, and when he is made, you make him 244 more the child of hell than yourselves. Woe unto you, blind guys, which say, whosoever shall swear by the temple, it is nothing. But whosoever shall swear by the gold of the temple, he is a debtor. You fools and blind, for whether is greater, the gold or the temple that sanctify the gold? And whosoever shall swear by the altar, it is nothing. But whosoever swear by the gift that is upon it, he is guilty. You fools and blind, for whether is greater, the gift or the altar that sanctify the gift? Whoso therefore shall swear by the altar, swear by it, and by all things thereon. And whoso shall swear by the temple, swear by it, and by him that dwell therein. And he that swear by heaven, swear by the throne of Elohim, and by him that sit thereon. And see, when you're going through all that, what was the point of looking at that? They hate that which is right. You see how they brought for a wrong judgment, but yet they want to govern. You know what I'm saying? Do you see that, right? They hate what was right, but they want to govern. Can't do that. Come here, Renee.
That is, they like the left hand.
No, they like to do wrong. What you doing? Come here.
Take your shoes off.
Does that mean they're on the left hand?
Does it mean what?
Does it mean that they're on the left hand?
They're on the left hand. What do you mean?
Like, you said right hand is righteous and left hand is wrong. So,
Oh, you thinking about something else. I didn't say that right now.
person and mother?
Yeah.
Okay.
In order to be able to get paid.
I'm saying that. Do you mean that?
Because like you said, chief priests and Pharisees and Levites moving in the land.
And they hated that which was right. They hated proper judgment.
So that means if they hate if they hate what's right, that means they're on the left side.
Oh, you mean the left side where the goats go at?
Yeah.
Yes. They're on the left side where the goats go. Come back over here to Job 34, verse 18. Listen what it say right here, right? Is it fit to say to a king, you are wicked, and to princes, you are ungodly? Did these people look at a prince and to a king and said that he was wicked? Did that happen? And if so, when did it happen? Who did it? Who said it? Oh, y'all don't know who did it and who said it? Oh, that's unfortunate. They said is it fit to say to a king, you are wicked? But it really says to say to a king, wicked. Because is it fit ain't there. It's Amar, Melech, Belial. Y'all know what it means, but Belial, right? Michael, what does Belial mean? What? No, it doesn't mean that. You don't know what Belial means?
Worthless.
You didn't come up with that on your own. But that's not a definition. That's nigga definition. Because it could be trash to us and valuable to another.
What about useless?
Useless is one. No, well, good for nothing. You know how we know all trash ain't good for nothing? Because every time I go to a trash out, boy, my niggas try to take something home. You know what I'm talking about? Them niggas be like, ooh. Well, them niggas took a space heater home the other day. That nigga plugged that junk up and see if it worked. That nigga threw it on the back of the truck.
It's getting cold, brother.
Hey, nigga took a dog. What do they call it? That's right, Saran. They said he cast out devils by Beelzebub. So you have to look at it. They said to a king, basically it's saying, is it fit to say to a king that he is a devil? Base fellow, wicked, unprofitable, worthlessness. You don't want to be. See, you know what that means, Michael? That would have mean earlier what I would tell you. When you don't listen, you know what that make you? A son of Belial. You want to be a son of Belial?
Who's Belial?
The devil. That's who Belial is. You want to be the devil? I bet you better start listening then. You wasn't ready for that, was you, Michael? Because you keep not listening. That's what we're going to call you. We ain't going to call you no son of God. We're going to let they go to son of Belial right there. He's stubborn. Don't listen. Break the rules. That's Belial's boy. You want to be Yahuwah's boy or you want to be Belial's boy? I ain't saying it to be funny. I'm trying to give you an education. So you get some understanding. When you don't listen, that make you a son of Belial. You know what happens to Belial? He don't get to smile. I'll tell you that.
Why does he ever get to smile?
Because he going to hell.
Why? At least he can get to smile.
Why would you smile when you know that nothing that you ever... See, you can smile, but you don't really be happy on the inside.
Why can't somebody smile then? Then they can't be happy on the inside.
Because they know that everything they're doing is for nothing. I know it's hard for you to understand because you're just but a boy. In due time, you'll understand. Come on back to Job 34.
Job or Job?
Job. It's not Job. It's Job. You see what they did? You see how they said to a king that he was the son of Belial, and then said that he was ungodly, or to the princes that they are ungodly. Ungodly here is Rasha, which is which is a wicked one or a criminal. So not only do they say to the king that he is son of a devil, but then turn around and say he a criminal. And what did they say to Pilate? If he weren't a malefactor, we wouldn't have brought him. See, this is him who the rod of his affliction is upon his head. You understand? All this relating back to Lamentations 3:1. Verse 19. How much less to him that accept not the persons of princes, nor regard the rich more than the poor, for they're all the work of his hands. In that moment they shall they die, and the people shall be troubled at midnight, and pass away, and the mighty shall be taken away without hand. For his eyes are upon the ways of man, he seeks all his goings. There is no darkness, nor shadow of death, where the workers of iniquity may hide themselves. That was the verse I was referencing. There is no darkness, no shadow of death, where those who participate in perversity and perverseness will be able to hide themselves. You know what I'm saying? See, most brews feel like these people out here hide themselves. Well, these people ain't hiding nowhere.
So that's why people get married, so they can get themselves high.
That's why people do what?
That's why people bury somebody else, because they can hide their dead body.
No, it's not because they can hide their dead bodies. Do you know what happens to a body when it dies? It rots and it begins to stink.
So that's why it gets buried, because it rots, and nobody wants to see a dead body rot, or else it's scream.
You won't even be able to see it. It will stink up the whole house. You wouldn't be able to go in the house.
So
And it's unclean.
So it'll start stinking.
Yes, it's not just going to start stinking. It's going to stink horribly. Have you ever smelt a dead animal? Oh, you found that funny?
I saw it. I never smelled a dead animal.
They smell pretty bad. I mean, by the time I was his age, I smelled plenty dead animals. But then again, he don't get to go outside like I did. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, I had to walk to school. First grade. Then you smell dead raccoons and possums in the street all the time. You know what I'm talking about? Definitely walking the Merrill Road. Definitely be a dead possum in the middle of Merrill Road on a regular basis. They dart up out them woods over there by that Bono going to Merrill Road. They're going to be laid in the street, dead, stank. I can't describe what a dead body smells because I've never smelled a dead body. But a dead animal is pretty bad. It'll definitely make you throw up. It'll definitely make you throw up. Let's come back over here to Lamentations 3:1. Lamentations 3:1. I am the man that have seen affliction by the rod of his wrath. He have led me and brought me into darkness, but not the light. That's where we come back and you look at it, right? They brought him into darkness. How can we justify that? Matthew 26.
Oh, just the dawn. I was already there.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew 26, right?
Mm-hmm. 26 and 46, 45.
Matthew.
Mm-hmm. Then he come here to his disciples and said unto them, sleep on now. And he said unto them, sleep on now, take your rest. Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is betrayed into the hand of sinners. Rise, let us be going. Behold, he that is at hand do betray me. Now, when we drop down to verse 50, well, we could keep on going from 47. While he yet spake, lo, Judas, one of the 12, came, and with a great multitude with swords and staves from the chief priests and elders of the people. Now he that betrayed him gave him a sign, saying, whomsoever I shall kiss, the same is he, hold him fast. And forthwith he came to Yahushua and said, hail, master, and kissed him. And Yahushua said unto him, friend, wherefore are you come? Then came they and laid hands on Yahushua and took him. And behold, one of them which were with Yahushua stretched out his hand and drew his sword and struck a servant of the high priest and smote off his ear. Then said Yahushua unto them, put up again your sword in the place, for all they that take the sword shall perish by the sword. This, that, and the third. That's what I want. We want verse 55. And in that same hour, Yahu said, Yahushua to the multitudes, are you come out as against a thief with swords and staves for to take me? I sat daily with you teaching in the temple, and you laid no hold on me. At this particular point, did it lead him to death or did it lead him to life? So when you look at that, you got to understand Lamentations is chapter 3 is going to get a little bit more personal than chapters 1 and 2 did. See, chapters 1 and 2, he was speaking about Jerusalem. And of course, you know, it relates to Mashiach, but in chapter 3, he more so speaking about himself directly. Do you know who wrote Lamentations of Jeremiah, son? I just told you who wrote it. You ain't paying attention. I said, do you know who wrote Lamentations of Jeremiah? I just told you who wrote it. You're not paying attention. Do you know who wrote Lamentations of Jeremiah?
You might think it's a place.
I'm going to ask you this one more time. Do you know who wrote Lamentations of Jeremiah? I just told you who wrote it. What did I just say to you? What did I just say to you? What? So that means you weren't listening. Because I don't know where you got 2 and 5 from. So that means you weren't paying attention. So I'm going to ask you this again. Who wrote Lamentations of Jeremiah? I just told you. What did I say to you? So you don't know what I just said to you.
I didn't hear you say.
What did I just say to you? You're looking perplexed. You're making something simple difficult. Why are you doing this?
I didn't hear you say.
What did I just say to you? Because I'm not going to tell you the answer. So that means you're going to have to think. Really, you don't even have to think. You just got to pay attention. Because I'm not telling you the answer. Now, I asked you a simple question. Who wrote Lamentations of Jeremiah? What did I just say to you? What did I just say to you? What did I just ask? You know what it is. You're not paying attention, and that is your problem. What did I just say to you? You're going to got to look crazy because I'm not going to hit you. I'm not going to punish you. I'm not going to do none of that. I'm just not going to answer the question, and I'm going to let you not have the ability to answer that question. I'm going to let you be ignorant on the matter because you're not paying attention. And by not paying attention, you think that I'm going to give you the answer, and I am not. I'm not giving you anything. You have the mental capability of answering this question. Who wrote the book Lamentations of Jeremiah? Exactly. If you would have been paying attention like you were supposed to, you would have got it. You ain't got to cry and do all of that. I'm just not going to tell you the answer. That's the difference. I'm not yelling at you. I'm not going to hit you. I'm not going to do none of that. I'm just not going to give you the answer to the question. See, when I know you have the ability to think, I'm not going to do your work for you. You're going to figure it out. It's different if you don't have the ability. I did that for a reason, for you to hear the answer, to make you pay attention when somebody's talking. You weren't paying attention. And you figured by not paying attention, I'd give you the answer. And I was not going to do that. Now, when you're dealing with Lamentations chapter 3, it's more personal. It's Jeremiah speaking firsthand of the things that he suffered. If you recall, did not Jeremiah suffer in some of the places that we read earlier? Over the last few weeks, him being incarcerated, him being persecuted. These are the things that he is discussing in the midst of said persecution. Lamentations of Jeremiah chapter 3 and verse 3. Surely against me he has turned his hand against me all the day. So remember from John 19, what did Yahushua say? You could have no power unless it was given to you from on high. It goes back to what we were talking about in the Psalms 21 a month or so or 2 months back in regards to that. Say, my flesh and my skin he have made old. He's broke all my bones. Let's look at this with flesh and skin being made old. When you look at being made old, it is to wear out, to become old. Bala, Bat, Lamad, and Hey. And you can give me what you got. Little mother, I see you. Hey, little mother. I don't think your mother wants you to escape at this time. What'd you say? What water? So, I done told her that. We had a conversation about it. She wasn't offended. Well, I can remember one of them children, they had no lot of hair on their head. I can't remember Lizzie. I remember Liz. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they got hair on their head. They ain't got a lot. Where your invoices at? Because we don't say receipts. We ain't going to tell you what you owe. Pay. We're going to tell me what you owe. Where your invoices at? That's the point of the invoice.
I know the truth. He don't want to know.
He said he wanted
Yeah, why you say you show me the invoice? You don't want it. Because definitely when I hear Nick tell me I got receipts, that junk sound real gay. You know what I'm talking about? Grown man talking about he got receipts. That means you spend too much money, Nick. Now you like that, little guy? You want invoices or receipts? Yeah, I got invoices. I'm gonna tell you what you owe. Sean got what? What you say? You want to choose receipts? That's because you don't know what a receipt or invoice is, so it's okay. No, that's not what a receipt is for. A receipt shows you how much money you spent. An invoice shows you how much money you got to pay. See, I send out invoices. Yeah, invoice meaning, nigga, you owe me. Pay me my money. Huh? Shoot, you sending out receipts. That ain't no invoice. That don't tell you what you owe. That tell me what you paid. I don't send out receipts. I send out invoices. You know what I'm talking about? Don't give me no receipt. Because if they ask me for a receipt, I'm telling them what they paid. I can give a nigga invoice and a receipt. Indeed. Upon request. You know what I'm talking about? Matter of fact, upon receipt. That's what these were put on there. Payable upon receipt. But they don't pay upon receipt, rat bastard. You know I ain't lying. They don't pay upon. Sean got behold the chastening of the son for Bala. Does anybody else have anything else? You say that there, but looking in the context, right? He say my bones are old. He done wore them out. So you're beholding the chastening of the son of Elohim. This is what Lamentations chapter 3 in totality is about. It's the chastening of Jeremiah, which is a foreshadowing to the chastening of Yahushua, which is a foreshadowing to the chastening of all those who will suffer for his name's sake, like we read in 1 Peter chapter 4. And that's why I go back to the verse that we read in 1 Peter chapter 4, that if you are suffering according to the will of Elohim, that you commit your souls to good works as unto a faithful creator, because he will not suffer his Kadash one to see corruption. That is the point of the matter. It's really just that simple. To maintain faithfulness to a faithful Elohim, he will not forsake you. Some people don't believe that. That's unfortunate for them. You know what I'm talking about? Let's continue in Lamentations chapter 3. Because there's many things that we could go with beholding the chastening of the son. Y'all are familiar with Proverbs, 19 and 15, is it? I ain't finna ask you. Michael, find me Proverbs 19 and 15. And when you find it, let Michael come over there and read it for you. This Michael. Yeah, if you find it for him, then let him come read it. Go on over there and read Proverbs 19 and 15 from Ms. Michael. Move swiftly. You're not moving swiftly. It means go over there. Now you read it out loud. Oh, you might be seeing words you don't know. I forgot about that. Forgive me. Forgive me, young lad. Oh, my fault. Give him 18. 18 what I want. Give him 18. That's what I want. Proverbs 19 and 18. I'm going to read it out loud for y'all. Because, see, this is where I'm doing this right here. Because he was so intent of wanting to sit right here, did he not? So he could follow along. So he going to get some instructions since he wanted to sit over here so badly. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving what he's looking for, give him what he want, how he want it, and he gonna learn today that you're gonna be disciplined. You see your bunk behind over here. But Proverbs 19 and 18 says, "Chasten your son while there is hope, and let not your soul spare for his crime." Y'all remember that verse? Y'all recall it? You remember Little Muffin? Hey, Little Muffin. Y'all remember that verse? You remember that, sir? That boy don't remember. Y'all brothers remember Proverbs 19 and 18? Did you read it? What did it say? That's what I said. Proverbs 19 to 18. What did you just read? Huh?
A little bit.
I understand. I understand your memory ain't that sharp. Proverbs 19 to 18. Behold, chasten your son while there is hope, and let not your soul spare for his crime. See, y'all remember Psalms? My Elohim. Why have you forsaken me? Y'all recall that song? Oh, you don't recall him saying that on the stage, right? What is chastening, right? It is rebuke. Was not Mashiach rebuke for your sake? See, I was talking to a Little Muffin about that. Little Muffin, you remember what a debt is? Debt. D-E-B-T. Debt. Because I told Little Muffin she ain't own nothing in the house. Not even her own rusty behind. That means when you owe somebody. And guess what? Everybody is in debt to the Lord. Why are you in debt to the Lord, Little Muffin? Why you owe?
That's right.
You remember why you owe? It's okay if you remember. It was new information. You owe because you commit sin. Not necessarily say that Muffin been running around here committing sin, but you in the flesh. Are you a human being? Who's the first human being? Who lived in the garden? And what did Adam do in the garden, Muffin? Do you remember? Huh? He did live there, but he did something while he lived there. Do you remember? I'm not talking to you. Is your name Muffin? All right, then speak when spoken to. You know the fact, because all you children got a habit of that, and I don't like it. And if this was probably about 1982, y'all probably had already been slapped in the mouth several times. No, I was born in 1980. We definitely did get slapped if we spoke out of turn and spoke when not spoken to. Huh? He ate the fruit. And you know what happened when he ate the fruit? He died. And then when he died, he owed Yahuwah. So you know what the wages of sin is? Do you know what the wages of sin is, Christian? What about you, sir? Do you know what wages are? Huh? Death? Yes, it is. The wages of sin is death. Do you know what wages are, Christian? No, I said wages. Do you know what wages are? Wages is what you're paid. See, none of y'all have a job. See, Lil Muffin don't be wanting to go to work because we got trash for her to throw away. But she don't never want to come to work. So she can't make no money.
I say very good.
I told her she'd get paid. You know what I'm saying? Pay you a very fair hourly rate. The law says I got to pay you at least $7.25 an hour and can't work you for more than 4 hours. Go over 14 for what? Shoot, she work in the family. Law don't say nothing about family business. You know what I'm talking about? Huh? Who told you that lie?
No.
I don't know who told you goats don't work. Because goats work. Yes, wages are what you're paid. If you listen, children, listen. If you work 10 hours and you get paid $20 an hour, do you know how much money that is? No, that's not 1,000, son. Your math is horribly off. But I like what you're thinking there, son. That's $100 an hour. He know his worth.
I work 20 hours.
Do you know how much 20 times 10 is, Muffin? You do your multiplications on general principle, walking around the house. You can't do it now. 20 times 10, son. I heard you good with math. I heard you're superior at it, matter of fact. Yeah, I heard you real good at math, Michael. What you came up with, son? Leah.
3,000.
It's not 3,000. That's not 3,000. Leah. Do you know what 20 times 10 is, Leah? Did you even try? Well, how about you try?
I think I need to 300.
Three.
I mean 200.
It is right. That is 200, Michael. 20 times 10 is 200. So that's how much money you would make. So guess what? When you commit sin, you know who will pay you with? Death. You know what death is? It's not what you think. Not the death that you go in the grave. Yes, Christian. No, not this death that you go in the grave that some of you have yet to experience. And when I say yet to experience, not that you've actually died, but somebody that you know has died and then you went to their funeral. Huh? Yes, Christian. Hell means Sheol, which means the grave. See, when you die, you go in the grave. But when you die the second death, you get separated from Yahuwah. And that's the death we talk about. So you sold yourselves for nothing, but you were redeemed without money. What did you sell yourself by? You sold yourself because of sin, and you got nothing in return. See, that goes back to what I talked to you earlier, son, about your bad choices. See, you get in trouble and you get nothing in return. All you get is the punishment. That's all you're left with. So Yahushua decided that he would actually use his body and his blood to buy you back from death so you may live. So now you don't belong to your mama. You don't belong to your daddy. Your black rusty behind don't even belong to you. You belong to the Lord. Your mother and your father, actually, on the natural sense, you belong to your daddy. Yeah, you don't belong to your mama. You belong to your daddy because you his seed. What's that? I mean, that's his period. I don't care if your daddy a deadbeat, a good father, marginal father, mediocre father. At the end of the day, if he breathing, you belong to your daddy. You know what I'm saying? Because your mama ain't got no seed. Your mama only make one ovary a month. One egg. Well, over it, okay. Shoot, there's a lot of women only got one. You only make one egg a month. know how many sperm a man make in a day? Huh? Y'all know how many sperm? Do y'all know how much sperm a man produces a day? 120 million sperm a day. Everlasting. A man, that's why the man can always have a baby, because he got perpetual seed. It's continual. It don't stop till he dies. Y'all don't know nothing about that. And you know how you know this is? I'm not being funny, because if you just look at planting, I'm being dead serious so you can see the elements of Yahuwah in nature. When you look at soil, you know some soil can go desolate and not produce seed. But that fruit don't never stop producing seed. If that seed is planted in the ground, if that fruit or vegetable, whatever the case may be, is planted in the ground and it's alive, it can always produce seed until that plant dies. But ground is not always fertile that it can incubate said seed to produce the fruit. It just sit there. It's just like a woman after her uterine lining had been shed out for the final time. You can put all the seed in there all you want, and ain't nothing coming out of there. Why is that important? Take you back to that Matthew 13, seed falling in good ground. Don't bring forth no fruit. Seed just gets snatched away. It's a lot of people out here, male and female. Boy, they got an unfertile womb. They heart unfertile. What does unfertile mean? Can't have no babies. Can't produce no fruit. See, the word is a seed. You know what seeds produce? They produce fruit. See, when you hard-headed and stubborn like you are, see, then the word can't bring forth no fruit. So you don't get no patience, you don't get no long-suffering, no faith, no love, no joy, no peace, no self-control, because you don't listen. It doesn't pay not to listen. You know what happens to niggas who don't listen? They end up broke staying at their mama house. No, they end up broke staying at their mama house. And they go to hell. And it's going to be hell while you broke staying at your mama house. And your daddy got to come by and look at this nigga. Always sleeping on my couch, eating my Captain Crunch. Don't be the uncle that's still staying at grandma's house. Don't grow up to be that. Everybody like this here. That's Uncle Michael. He been staying with grandma for 25 years. He ain't never moved out. Don't let that be you. Some of y'all got the uncle who been living at your mama house, ain't never moved out. You got an uncle been living at your grandma's house, don't never move out? Oh, yeah, we were just talking about. I was talking about you, but you your husband. That's facts now. He do that. He can't be by himself. He be by himself, he gonna be dead. I ain't saying that on so much because shoot, that nigga might pass out or fall out. That man can't be in that house by himself. Well, if you done had a brain tumor removed, well, you can't be nowhere by yourself. You can't live by yourself. You gonna do just like what we were talking about the other day. That nigga gonna be tricking on them hoes. He can't do nothing else. Who don't know how to act, Lil Joe? But y'all remember this here, right? When he said, my Elohim, why are you forsaking me? And you read Habakkuk chapter 1, what did he say? His eyes are too pure to look upon what? So that means he ain't hear his cry. So while he was whooping his son, he didn't stop. He said he didn't spare him. He said, chasten your son while there was hope. There was still an expectation of salvation while Yahushua was being chastised. Dang, so they say her uncle lived with his mom, and now his mom lives with his sister, so he lived with his sister now. That's tough. You know what I'm talking about? Mom Deuce had to move. Nigga say, now your brother gotta come stay with us. Yeah, you know why he like that, Michael? Because he don't listen. One day you gonna keep on, you gonna have to live with Malia and her husband. You want to live with Malia when you grown? You better start listening. Malia say, shoot, once I get grown, I'm getting away from this thing. You want to live with Mordecai? Live with Malia? You want to be 30 years old living with your mama? You want to live by yourself? With your wife? And your kids? Or you don't want no wife? Huh? You want a wife? Well, you got to learn how to listen. You know what it means when you don't know how to listen? That means you ain't going to know how to lead yourself. And if you can't lead yourself, how you going to lead a family? You're not going to be able to do that. You got to learn how to listen. You got to be able to follow instructions. Back to Lamentations chapter 3, verse 5. Joe, hush that noise up because you being rude to everybody else. Come on over here, Joe. Come on. Come on, Joe. Ain't nobody finna hit you. Come on. I just told you I ain't finna hit you. Come on here, Joe. Joe, if you don't come over here, I am going to hit you. Come on over here, Joe. I ain't playing with you. Hey, cut it out. What you doing all that for? You want to sit over here? Just sit on the floor. Lamentations 3 and verse, 5. He has builded against me and compassed me with gall and travail. He has set me in dark places as they that be dead of old. Now let's pause. Let's look at dead of old. Dead is Muth. Old is Olam, which is a long duration, antiquity, and forever, perpetual, ending. What understanding would you have of he that set me in dark places? We're not looking at dark places. As they that be dead of old. Those who have been dead for an extended period of time. The word for death again is Muth. Die, kill, executed. Die as a penalty to be put to death. To die prematurely by neglect of wise moral conduct. Don't play with him. Don't talk to him or I'm going to punch you dead in your throat. That's my first and final warning. While you laughing, you can get it too. Get your hand off that chair and stop playing with it. You focus on your task. Don't worry about what he's doing. I don't care. Don't worry about what he's doing. I'll deal with him. You focus on what you're supposed to do. Don't worry about him. Anybody, what you think of as they that be dead of old? What's up, little Bible study? What's up? You grown?
No, I'm not grown. I'm trying to get some. I'm just trying to eat my strawberry and chill out and try to eat it. That's what I'm trying to do.
Oh, all right. In the grave, he was the lamb that was slain before the world was, or so from Elam. I can dig it. We got another answer for it. I can allow that because we just talked about that the other day. That wasn't what I was angling for with a fishing rod. So we'll throw another piece of bait in there. What y'all got in there for dead of old?
This is
Okay.
What you referring to? Oh, no. But I can see why you would say that also. Come over here to Romans 5 and 14. Who that is crawling across the floor? Romans 5, you can make it 12. Romans 5 and 12. Say, wherefore, as by one man sin entered into the world, and by death sin, so death passed upon all men, for all have sinned. That goes back to what we talking about, Muffin, with the dead. See, that's Isaiah 52 and 7, if y'all don't know. You sold yourselves for nothing, but you shall be redeemed without money. Peter also told you that you were not redeemed from the vain conduct of your fathers with corruptible things as silver and gold, but as the precious blood of the Lamb. And as the Lord himself told you, that I did not come to serve, to be served, but to serve, and to make my life a ransom for many, or the redemption of the brethren of Leviticus 24 reference to. Because remember what Leviticus 24 talking about. Y'all remember what Leviticus 24 talk about? Michael, how about you? You got your hand on your forehead like you was aspirating. Do you know what Leviticus 24 talks about? Do any of you brothers or sisters on here know what Leviticus 24 talking about? What about you, Renee? Tubbington? The who? What? No, not the shewbread in Leviticus 24. Joe, leave that alone.
What about it, bro?
Well, maybe it's 25. We'll look at 25.
What you talking about?
What we talking about? Ransom. Remember say he made his life a ransom for many. Yes. Y'all remember what the redemption price was going to be for? Because a man did what? Sold himself into bondage. And somebody near kinsman redeemer could come pay the price because you had a what? You had a debt. So you look at it, Adam brought forth a debt, and somebody had to pay it. It still continues what we were talking about with those two genealogies. Remember what Luke chapter 3 end with? Who it end with? Kalisha. Oh, you don't know? I see you put Pro-Gel on your forehead. You got locks. I ain't never seen a nigga with locks lick a baby hairs down. Yes, sir, Sean. That nigga say she gonna make a nigga think she got a soft, wet wavy curl up under that whole time. He was a rude boy. They said they ain't gonna see that coming. Look at you. Your homegirl say they laid. Be proud of yourself. Oh, you don't know the answer to the question? Yeah. Shoot it like you shot that project.
I shot it. There was a compliment.
Yahusha what? Ended with what? What book? I'm just trying to see if you can shoot off your answers rapidly. I ain't being funny. But you weren't able to follow up. I'm trying to tell you, you ain't hit the auto switch and turn it to an automatic. That's all that is. I'm trying to make sure you can come on with it. The moment has passed. You know what I'm talking about? But of course, you know, he had to pay the debt. You got to pay what you owe. Now, there was two debts. Can y'all tell me what the two debts were? It's two separate debts. It's two separate debts that had to be paid. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Tavon. It's two separate debts that had to be paid. If we establish that Adam had to pay a debt, what's the other debt that had to be paid? I've loosely already referenced it just a few moments ago. Adam paid one debt. That debt was the debt of death. There was another debt that had to be paid. I just referenced it when I referenced Peter. Daniel referenced it in Daniel chapter 9. Oh, no, they're not in Leviticus. I'm just saying, like, there's two debts in the text that had to be paid. You had the debt that had to, matter of fact, both of those genealogies elucidate to both. Matthew 1 and Luke 3 speaks to both debts that had to be paid. Well, not necessarily the land, but the covenant was broken, so that debt had to be paid. That's why I say I loosely referenced that with Peter when he said you were not redeemed from your father's vain conduct with silver and gold, but by precious blood of the Lamb, because you had to be redeemed in regards to actually being his people again because you owed that debt. He paid both of those debts in one shot. Yeah, he paid both debts in one shot. You got Adam's debt, and then Yasharal has a debt. Yeah, Adam has a debt. Yasharal has a debt. That's what they said. They said, let that debt be with us. We'll pay it. That's what that meant when the people said, let his blood be on our son's sons. Our son gonna pay the debt. Remember what Peter said in Acts chapter 3 or chapter 4? He said there's a day of what? Restitution. That means somebody got to pay. Remember Psalms 49? Who can pay for to redeem their brother? Who can pay that cost? You can't pay that cost. So somebody had to pay it for you. That's why 1 Corinthians chapter 6 says that your body belongs to the Lord, so therefore sanctify your bodies. Because that belonged to him. Because he paid for it. And he paid for it with his life. See, that's different. See, you can say what you want to say. That's why remember what the text say? The borrower is a servant to the lender. Ain't that what it says? Let's all take a look at that real quick. Like, we give a different understanding than most will give. I know we done talked about Proverbs 22 and 6 a time or two in our time. Or 22 and 7 is what it is. I just was listening to a video where dude was talking about that all landlords are evil and that they should just give up their houses because they believe landlords strike up the home prices. The where people can't afford a home. But people really what strike up home prices, at least right now, is there's a greater or rental prices, I should say. It's a greater demand than it is supply. Huh? No, they don't work. But they looking at they call, I forgot the term he used, but they feel like basically like it's illegal for government to be able to to charge you for a service and they didn't put anything into it. So in his mind, if you buy a house and rent it out, you ain't put no money into it because the money to do the house is being paid by the tenant. And they're not looking at that a down payment had to be paid and various other fees had to be paid before the house was even purchased by you for me to rent it out to you. Right? I guess people feel like landlords are, if the mortgage is $500, they charging you $2,200. You know what I'm saying? And they're not doing this. They're not paying for the upkeep of the house. We're paying for it. He said they should be able to sell the house and get no money and just lose on the investment. Because, people always believe that people just make mounds and mounds of money doing real estate. And that's not necessarily the case. These people lose hundreds and thousands of dollars. You know what I'm saying? Especially rentals. That's a long-term thing. But what if a nigga tear your house up? I've been in some. We just trashed out the house. We had to take the carpet out and some other junk. Man, them people had them pissed all on the walls, holes in the walls. Oh, people do all type of stuff. Well, we just left out of the house. Man, them niggas were doing heroin in there. Man, the people have more needles than a little bit in that house.
I was to get my DOT update, my health card. And the doctor that was there said he had a property on Greenfield. They said the son was staying there with his mama, taking care of him. And the nigga ended up being on drugs. And he said that the nigga mama died and he buried in the backyard of the room.
Woo!
Kept taking checks and paying the rent.
That nigga say, mom dude died, he buried her in the backyard, took her checks, and paid her rent and stayed. He living there. Boy, that niggas is hell, man.
Then when they were saying like, we finna, revamp the house, like, and they were pretty much ending it. They said you can't renew no more. They were like, where your mom at? They had to do a full investigation. The nigga had to slip in New Jersey. Nigga ain't even reported her dead.
And she died of natural causes.
Well, you don't know how she died.
That nigga done killed Mom Dukes for a house.
That ain't his.
That ain't his.
That ain't his. Do it for the check.
He probably killed Mom Dukes. Proverbs Exodus 34 and 7 to what, Sean? Proverbs 22 and 7. That's tough. It says the rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is a servant to the lender. Let's look at borrower. If y'all remember, that's Lavah. That's somebody who calls to borrow or lends to. Also means to be joined to. This is Proverbs 22 and 7. Now, when you deal with lender, lender is lava ish. That is a man who lends to or causes to borrow. So think about that. Man borrows and is a servant to the lender. Remember, servant is a bed. Servant is a bed. So what comes to your mind when you hear this here, thinking about the terms of what we're discussing right now? That the borrower is a servant to the lender. And just keep in mind, when you got lender, it's got man there. So it is a man who causes you to borrow. You borrow from a man. All right, so we done discussed this before. But how is he the lender? How are you the borrower? What did he lend you? What did you borrow? Let me get that Acts that I mentioned beforehand. Hold on. Let me get that Acts real quick. We still holding Romans 5, by the way. You know, you lend something, you got to give that back. You ain't got to give the Ruach back. Unless you're talking about the Ruach you got that keep you alive naturally. Hold on. I'm going to read you this Acts 3 and 19. Well, I pick it up about verse 16, Acts 3 and 16. And his name through faith in his name have made this man strong, whom you see and know. Yea, the faith which is by him have given him this perfect soundness in presence of you all. And now, brethren, I walk through ignorance, you did it, as did also your rulers. But those things which Elohim before had showed by the mouth of all his prophets, that Mashiach should suffer, he hath so fulfilled. Repent you therefore and be converted, that your sins may be blotted out, when the times of the refreshing shall come from the presence of the Lord. He shall send Yahushua HaMashiach, which was preached unto you, whom Shamahim must receive until the time of restitution of all things, which Elohim have spoken by the mouth of all his Kadash prophets since the world began. Remember, there has to be a recompense. You're going to have to pay something back. Now, this son, I ain't mentioned it in these words in a long time. You don't have nothing to pay this man with. You understand? Now, what you mentioned, I mentioned everlasting life. It's not necessarily the everlasting life, but he did lend unto you life because he lent you his flesh. He lent you his word. He lent you his blood. And therefore, you have to be a servant to this man who has caused you to borrow, because you could not attain any of these things on your own. You could not get life on your own. I know a lot of people that take it and they'd be like, see, if you take out loans, you were servant to the lender. And that's true, depending on what type of loans you take. See, the problem is that most people take on debt that don't make them no money. And that makes you a slave to whomever you borrow from. See, we end up being slaves for houses. You know what I'm talking about? Because regardless, you're a servant to the bank. Because you got to pay them. You don't pay them to take you out. You're a servant to the finance company for your vehicle. Because if you don't pay them, they're going to take your vehicle. That's debt that can't make you any money. You know what I'm saying? Now, it's different if you take out some debt and that debt is going to make you some money. At that point, that money is a servant to you. You know what I'm talking about? You ain't a servant to the money. You know what I'm talking about? Because if the money making you money, that money working for you. I'm just mentioning that because that's not something that most of us are told living in this society. They just told you, get you some credit and this, that, there, and the third. But if you pay attention, they always tell you to get consumer credit. If you just pay attention to your surroundings in this country, would you say that most of the credit they tell you to take out is for consumer debt? That's bad debt. That's debt that don't make you no money. That's debt that enriches and benefits them. and then you become a lifelong servant to them. You know what I'm talking about? That's just what it is. You just got to understand what you're dealing with. You can't get mad at the system. You have to understand the system that you're dealing with. That's why you sit back. You know, these dudes be online talk about it all the time, but it's not inaccurate. You know, most women who have a lot of money, a lot of material stuff, they have massive amounts of debt. Massive. You know what I'm talking about? I just seen a woman, man, where this woman say she make $100,000 a year. Do you know this stupid woman say she spends $4,000 to $5,000 a month to take trips? You know how stupid that is? That is dumb. You know what I'm talking about? That is fiscally irresponsible to spend $5,000. We're not talking about a trip every quarter, 1 or 2 trips a year. This whole thing, she puts $4,000 to $5,000 a month aside to take at least 1 trip a month, if not 2. Do you understand that is $60,000 in a year? That is over half of her annual income. Once you go to take in taxes, this stupid hoe only got $10,000 left over before you talk about any other expenses. You know what I'm talking about? This is the stuff that don't nobody think about. They tell you, get your credit card, swipe it, pay it back. You're in debt. And you always going to be in debt. And this is what most brews talk about when they talk about that passage. When we talk about this passage under underlying reference of the testimony of the Lord, you're in debt to this man because this man suffered and shed his blood. His blood was a payment. You know what I'm saying? So you're borrowing from him. Now you're going to be a servant to him because he lent that to you. This is not something that you could get for yourself. You could not get eternal redemption on yourself. That takes us back to the Leviticus that we referenced, right? The redemption debt, the Jubilee money. You couldn't pay that debt. Remember what he said in Luke chapter 7 about if there was 2 men that owed somebody and he frankly forgave them both, which one would love him the most? He said he that owed the most. He said, you rightly judge. You know what I'm talking about? So you have to sit back and understand that, and then just sit back and look at, hey, ain't nobody knocking nobody. Hey, man, you want to buy a house, finance a car, but understand what you're dealing with and try to pay it off as quickly as possible if your finances allow. You know, there's people around here driving nice whips, not least, but paying exorbitant car payments a month for a car that they're going to have to pay for the upkeep on it and all, and nigga be having 6-7 year loans on a car. You a slave to this cracker for almost a decade for a vehicle that's going to lose value the minute you drive it off the lot. But when I seen these crackers were offering 6 and 7 year loans, I'm like, that's ridiculous. Bro, there ain't nobody, you ain't got no business taking no 6-year car loan, man. That's ridiculous. Absolutely. You're going to be underwater. You're going to pay more than what it's worth. At that point, you might as well just lease that home. You know what I'm saying? At least you can get a brand new one when it's over. Man, I seen that John Quick say, yeah, man, we can get you finance for this. I say, bro, why is the term 6 years? I said, no, good. I'm good. I'm good on that, bro. I said, absolutely not. Then this thing to my, it'd be about $800 a month. Well, shoot, you planning on rolling a luxury vehicle out here? Because I'm not paying $800 a month for no damn pickup truck. He said, but you know I don't want to hear none of that. I'm like, well, you've never took this amount of loan out, but yeah, I can pay. You see what I'm making. You just asked for my bank statements. You see them. You ain't never had this much. Well, I don't want that much loan then. I'm out of here. And they steady be calling. You still in the shop for a vehicle? Not if you're doing that. You know what I'm talking about? Now, if you're doing that, I ain't got no damn fool written across my forehead. You won't get me like that. Oh no, but see, I gotta put more money in the account. They still do. No, I got a tramp, but I mean to shoot. I also got business expenses, so you got to shoot a little bit over here, shoot a little bit over there. Yeah, shoot, man, I ain't doing it for the lease. I don't care. Let's swap out. Oh, that baby hit up mine. That baby hit up mine. You might want to check on your baby. Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Well, them people, man, look at, man. Even if you say you get a 4-5 year loan, man, shoot, and the APR, that's what you really want is a low. So they stretching you out, saying that APR gonna be lower, but you still gonna pay way more than what that car worth by the time you finish. That's if you can qualify for a loan. It won't get me like that. Huh? $20-$30. Nigga, that ain't no saving. Ain't no saving. Niggas say, let's stretch it out for an extra year to say you a grand total of $360 in a year. Man. You kiss my whole black behind, buddy. Come on back to Lamentations, man. That's tough, man. Oh, I mean Romans 5. I'm sorry. Back to Romans 5 and 12. But do y'all understand on the spiritual concept how the borrower is a servant to the lender? You are now a servant to the man or the Ish Lava, the man who has lent to you. I mean, they ain't even care if I came in with my own loan, because shoot, they hit Wells Fargo up. Sloan, brother, like, and they like, so I said, I bank with Wells Fargo, nigga. Wells Fargo will try to put good, strong 8 inches, ungreased, right in your rectum, boy, on any type of loan they give you, house and all.
All the way at this point, credit union the only ones trying to like working. Bank gonna hit you with the elbow.
Oh, I ain't never tried to get no financing from Wells Fargo, but I already know what Wells Fargo gonna do. Right up in you. You be walking funny. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about booty hole soap. Sade said they definitely. So she said she would definitely get God because she was going to get a car and pay for it in full. She was just ready to get a car and started to not care what kind of car she was going to get. She was going to get a hoopty. That nigga said a hoopty. I ain't heard nobody say that in a long time. Who she been hanging around? She been at the house. She been hanging with Monica. That's who she been hanging with. Y'all been using that old nigga slang. She got that from you. Monica looked like she talking about he in the hoopty. She don't say a nigga in a bucket. He in the hoopty. She called a nigga hoopty nigga in a 2012. He in the hoopty. I ain't even see him get up there. Romans 5 and 12. Wherefore, as by one man sin entered into the world, and death by sin, so death passed upon all men, for all have sinned. For unto the law sin was in the world, but sin is not imputed where there is no law. She said it's been months since you seen her. You ain't right then. And she laughed about it. I don't believe that. What a polygraph at? Oh, you don't know what that is? What it is? You done took a couple and failed some. Come back, a lie detector says that was a lie. Y'all remember what that means? Where there is no law, sin can't be imputed. Y'all remember what that means? Sit down, boy. That was the garden, everybody, before eating of the tree, because there was no sin, because there was no law. Remember what Paul told you? Where there is no sin, ain't no law. Where there's no law, can't have no sin. Remember, the tree of good and evil was the law. It wasn't no sin. Why would they need any sin? They were righteous people. Remember, he said, who told you was what? And when you're naked, according to the text, what does that mean? That means your sin is exposed. So that means if they weren't naked, that means there wasn't no sin. That means it wasn't no law. That's how you know the tree of good and evil was the law. That's he that got ears to hear. They gonna hear it. Huh? You ain't had no debt. You ain't had nothing you had to pay. That's why he took the coat of skins and slayed the animal to clothe him, because he paid the debt. That animal he slayed paid that debt. You have to remember that Adam ain't had no debt in the garden. See, that's where it goes back to what we were talking about a couple weeks ago. Adam paid Eve's debt when he ate it with her. He paid the debt with her. He paid that debt. Because remember, Yahuwah ain't stepped to Eve, he stepped to Adam. Adam went in there and paid that debt. He could have let her owe. What he say? You owe, Pookie. You owe. That's what he could have looked into. You owe, Eve. You owe. He could have left her right on out there. He paid the debt. Exactly. Show your respect to your husband. He paid the debt. He paid the debt. No, they don't respect it because they think these fairy tales and stories. Because it's stuff that these wicked bastards ain't going to do their damn self. That nigga ain't going to pay the debt for his wife, and that funky hoe ain't going to listen. And the children just ought to be killed. You know what I'm talking about? It's really just that simple. That man paid the debt. But I'm gonna be honest with you. In 2021, modern day times, see, Adam and Eve is the spark of the gender war. That's why these people be out here arguing. We got to be subject to the man because of this here. This is what a lot of this stuff springs from. Underlying contempt for Adam and Eve because they ain't got no understanding. She caused the debt and he paid the debt. So get what? He could have let her owe by himself and been debt free. And say, just give me a new one. I seen a funky slut hoe talking about, but see, they don't want to talk about his first wife, Lilith. I hate a funky hoe like that. I hate them funky hoes like that. They talking about Lilith was his first wife because he said, get beneath me, woman, and she wouldn't give him no monkey. That's Babylonian fairy tales. Ain't no Bible to support it. Yeah, they coming in talking about Lilith because Lilith was the first feminist. She was the first feminist. You know what I'm saying? That's where they get that from. Oh, Eve wasn't the first woman. It was Lilith. Lilith ain't want to have sex. She didn't want to be beneath a man. So she left. And you want to be proud of that because he told a funky slut to get the hell out of here. You shouldn't even be talking about that. Ain't nothing to be proud of. I just told you. Lilith is a Babylonian folk tale. It's not in the text. Ain't nowhere in the text that you can infer to it. They just try to say that Lilith was Adam's first wife. And she left the garden because Adam said, it's time for you to bust it wide open and be my busted baby. And she said, bust it today, I shall not.
I thought that was Jewish.
It is. Yeah. Depends on where you read it at. If you read it from the Babylonians, it say one thing. If you read it in the Talmud, it say another. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, she just somebody they made up. She just somebody. Because get what? How she leave and she ain't get, and how she died then? Because she would have had to pay the debt too. She was a whore. He ain't pay for the whore. You don't never pay for a whore. That's why a lot of these boys be messed up paying for Liliths out here. Don't pay for a Lilith. Kick that whore out. He taught you that. If Lilith real, Adam taught you how to do straight pimping, no simping. You know what I'm talking about? Straight up and down. And Lilith real, well, Adam taught you straight pimping, no simping. You put that whore out. You don't want to give me no coochie. Then what I got you for? Because at the end of the day, that's the number one benefit of even having a wife outside of the help me. And we can't have sex. What you here for? She wanted to be on top, huh? Oh, she wanted to be in control. Guess what? Ain't no man got no problem with that. If you want to be number one with my pleasure, please me then. That's your job. Bring forth my satisfaction. And bring it fast and bring it forthwith. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, as a lady, your number one objective should be to please that man. They done told me to go out here and worry about pleasing her. You know what I'm talking about? Boy, this niggas out here crying. Boy, you don't see these clips, these niggas be around here crying, talking about, bro, she said I was a minute man, they were trash. I wouldn't care. Did you ejaculate? Yeah, what's you, nigga? What's the problem? You know what I'm talking about? But see, that's the artist, that's the problem. When you get the man in the mindset of that he got to please the woman in everything, he got to serve you in everything else. Sex is the only place where like you supposed to take over and satisfy this man. This nigga got to lead you. He got to guide you. He got to teach you. He got to provide for you. He might have to die for you. And you mean to tell me I got to come in here and put you first in here too? This sounds like a raw deal for me. That's why a lot of these niggas staying in their basement beating their meat. Because they say, shoot, if I got to do all that, I just rather stay to myself. Woo! No, all jokes aside, but this modern society has removed the woman that she don't have no duty to please this man, and that it's the man's job. I go back to what I told you last night. They teach you that you're supposed to perpetually be a servant to this woman. And matter of fact, that you satisfy her every whim. Well, you got niggas around here talking about, bro, she said you trash in bed. I don't give a damn. That junk shouldn't make you feel bad. So what? Did you smash though? Shoot, I know about it full tilt. At the end of the day, what it gets the mentality of all you worrying about is pleasing her, and it's her job to please you. It ain't both ways, because her ejaculation is irrelevant. It's not even needed for the survival of the human race. That's not even for the survival. Hey, I don't give a damn. I understand. I'm just talking about the mentality of young men, period. Because if it go both ways, I'm already serving you in a multitude of ways before we even step in here. But see, that's the thing, though. This I'm talking about with all women anyway. Because see, all women put sexual gratification at number one on their list, and they miss out on a lot of things because of it. But some of y'all done seen them clips of them women say, "Oh, if I don't like the sex with him, I'm leaving," and go get with a nigga who broke. You know what I'm talking about? Because he long meat Willie, and this nigga can't take care of you. You know what I'm talking about? I told you, this junk was funny. I done told you this before. This junk was always funny to me. That nigga James Brown said, "Eat vagina for what?" That nigga say, "What that do for me?" But it was how he said it. No smile, no joking. That nigga was looking dead in the camera like, "What that do for me? What me do that for?" That don't please me. I said, "Boy, that tough." You know what I'm saying? He looked like a pimp. Clearly, he lived like one. You know what I'm saying? But the point of the matter is yeah, you could do that, but the woman, before she get pleased, her number one objective should be to please him. Most women come in and she's looking for him to please her, and she's not going to please him. Because most women ain't good at sex as they believe they are. You know what I'm talking about? And you know that. We done had this conversation before. You ever heard a woman say her vagina was trash? Any of your friends ever told you that? Yeah. I ain't never heard a woman in her life say she gave a bad performance.
Oh, you mean admitted it?
Yeah, admitted it out loud.
I feel like I said a baby. I ain't never seen a woman say a baby. I mean, you said you have. I've never heard.
Oh, I only seen the clip, and that was only once. I've never seen anyone in person say their baby was ugly.
I feel like it's the same thing. They ain't gonna be that real with themselves.
Yeah, you tired. You like I ain't do my best yesterday.
Damn.
I would say I ain't do my best.
But I'm saying even when they had their baby, they be real.
It ain't too many, man. Every woman out here feel like she got the golden vagina. Yeah, to him. I mean, you might not sit around with your friends. I had a bad performance. I came up bad in the third quarter. Took, you know what I'm saying? Missed a couple post moves. Hey, hit a like for me. Nah, but all jokes aside, that ain't good. I appreciate you. All jokes aside, though, the underlying statement is that it's the woman's duty and job to please the man. It's not the man's number one duty to please her. Through her pleasing him, then he can please her. And that's just not physically, that's in all things. You know what I'm talking about? Because when you look at you and Yahuwah, it's your job to please Yahuwah, and then in turn, Yahuwah is going to please you. He's not going because you the one that are indebted to him. He's not indebted to you. So why would he go out of his way to please and serve you over himself? And when you just look at regular human behavior, with most women, if the man is more concerned with pleasing her than she is with pleasing him, she doesn't respect it. Because now he's placed her on a pedestal. And then they become contemptible, and that's when they go around there to do dirt. That's how Jody end up at the house. Do you not understand that you see all these quote-unquote quality women that end up leaving decent men for men who are beneath the man who they left for? How you leave your man for a nigga with no job? This nigga ain't got no car. You got to pick him up for him to give you penis. How that work? You know what I'm talking about?
A lot of times that makes them feel powerful.
Well, I mean, they want to rule over a weak man. But you stupid. You know what I'm saying? You stupid. Oh, I know why they do it, but I'm just saying that's stupid. Because you left stability for temporary pleasure. That made no sense. You know what I'm saying? That made no sense. The same way you see women who make all their money and got a nigga who ain't got no job doing like Jody did, dropping you off to work. Talking about don't cheat on me. Well, what you think he gonna do? He got too much time on his hands. He got no job. Romans 5:14. What's that? You should always know if you a woman and you got a nigga with no job, just know he's slinging penis. He ain't got nothing else to do. He doing something. That shoot, he ain't got no job. What else he gonna do to fill his time? Yeah. Yeah. He ain't got no. She already know. Shoot, he ain't got nothing but time but to sling penis. I know it. He ain't got nothing else to do. He ain't tired. He ain't using his brain. He ain't doing nothing. He ain't doing nothing. He ain't doing nothing. That's tough now. 5:14 Romans. Nevertheless, death reigned from Adam to Moses, even over them that had not sinned after the similitude of Adam's transgression, who was a figure of him that was to come. But not as the offense, so also was the free gift. For if through the offense of one many be dead, much more the favor of Elohim and the gift by favor, which is by one man, Yahushua HaMashiach, which abounded unto many. And not as if it was by one that sinned, so was the gift. For the judgment was by one to condemnation, but the free gift is of many offenses unto justification. So you see this as a man, he come through and pay your debts. Back to Lamentations chapter 3, verse 5. What they doing to that baby bike? I said, I mean, all that. When you look at more people who come to serve you, they feel like you are supposed to please them. And they ain't supposed to do nothing for him. Yeah, I'm like I said, I might crack nobody, but it's the mindset. The woman was made to be a helpmeet and a servant. So her duty and job is to bring delight to her husband. And in that delight, then he gonna delight to give her desires. Because you already know that. What does Psalms 37 tell you about that? He said, Yahuwah will give you the desires of your heart if you commit yourself unto Yahuwah. Here we go. Because Yahuwah don't mind. But if it's a problem for you, then it's gonna be a problem for him. He said, he had builded, this is verse 5, he had builded against me and compassed me with gall and travail. He have set me in dark places as they that be dead of old. He have hedged me about that I cannot get out. He have made my chain heavy. And when I cry out and shout, he shut out my prayer. Y'all know what that is. When he cried and shut out his prayer. You know what that is? Hey, little muffin. Oh, all y'all got on the same color, huh? Oh, you don't care. You don't care, little muffin. He have enclosed my ways with hewn stone. He have made my paths crooked. He was unto me as a bear lying in wait, and as a lion in secret places. He have turned aside my ways and pulled me in pieces. He have made me desolate. He have bent his bow and set me as a mark for the arrow. And he have caused the arrows of his quiver to enter into my reins. What does that verse mean? He has caused his arrow of his quiver to enter into my reins. Now, you might want to look up the word reins. Little muffin. Hey, I see you. Did I see you yesterday? I think I saw you yesterday. You had told me a couple things. I don't remember them. Look up the word reins and tell me what you find. You a little surprised by arrows? But I need you to deal with kill Yah first. And then we'll talk about some arrows. That's what I throw you a little off.
Get that.
Well, he's telling you for arrows, you have Ben. You know what Ben is, right? Oh, you don't know what Ben is? That's unfortunate. You might want to look that up. Ben, B-E-N, yes, Ben. Now, Alicia, tell her what Ben means.
Son. Oh, thank you.
Son! You were talking about son?
My baby's sleeping.
So what it says is he calls the son of his quiver. Quiver, of course, you know, is a quiver for arrows to enter into his reins. Y'all remember what Psalms tell you? Blessed be the man that have a quiver full of what? Children. So what is he telling you? The son of his quiver, he is caused to enter into his reins. Reins is kill Yah. Kill Yah is the seat of the emotion or affection or a sacrificial animal. Yes, being pierced in the side is correct, Saran. So it's telling you that the son, come over here to this Psalms. I think it's Psalms 127. Yes, Psalms 127 it is. Psalms 127. I just read verse 1. It's only a few verses in it. Psalms 127. Bird, sit still before I punch you dead in your kneecap. You want me to punch in your kneecap? Come over here so I can punch in your kneecap. Come on, Bird. Come on. Come on over here so you can limp back. Yeah, come on. Oh, you scared? So why won't you come on over here then? So you scared? I want you to come on over here so I can punch you in your kneecap so you can limp back. Psalms 127, except Yahuwah build the house, they labor in vain that build it. Except Yahuwah keep the city, the watchmen wake but in vain. Yes, sir. Kill Yah means sacrificial animal, seat of emotions or kidneys. Not like kill Yah, but the word is spelled K-I-L-Y-A-H. And you pronounce it kill Yah. Did that help you? All right. Oh, he don't know what. He all right. He's like this here. He's trying to process it. I think he thought we were talking about killing Yah. I figured. Oh, as you said, so you can't kill Yah. Yah cannot be killed. He lives forever. That is correct. That is correct.
That's what kill Yah means.
No, kill Yah means sacrificial animal. It is vain for you to rise up early, to sit up late, to eat the bread of sorrows, for so he give his beloved sleep. Lo, sons are the heritage of Yahuwah, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. Now remember, heritage here is not claw, that's possession, property, inheritance. That's why I told you that the children belong to the father. That's his possession, that's his property, that's his inheritance. I didn't want to see what that. And of course, that for children, they have Ben, they have son. And now I was telling Dee this here. You know that nigga Corey Holcomb, right? Now he was clowning. He's a comedian. He used to be on Wild 'N Out in the beginning stages. You know what I'm saying? Now people be like, why is he not that big of a comedian? Because he don't care what he say out his mouth. He offends many people. But he was talking on a radio show and he was like, boy, he was like, God don't fool with you if you ain't got no sons. You know what I'm saying? He just talking like, man, he basically said in favor. Now, of course, there's many elements of it, but we know deep down, you go through the text, it's going to be one of three reasons if a man go forth and he have a lot of children and don't have one son. One, he wants your bloodline gone. Two, he wants your bloodline gone. Three, he wants your bloodline gone. You know what I'm talking about? Now, the reasons why he wants your bloodline gone, those is where the differences come in at. You know what I'm saying? Because he could want your bloodline gone for something that's one of your forefathers did. He could want your bloodline gone because it could be a righteous bloodline and he wanted to stop with you. And so I don't want nobody else to take this line. This is a perfect line. I'm stopping it right here. You know what I'm talking about? And 3, you could be so evil that he like this here. This bloodline stopping with him. You know what I'm talking about? And when I say that bloodline, not necessarily your father's entire bloodline, but that person.
What's a bloodline?
A bloodline is what you come from. You come from the bloodline of your father. And your father comes from the bloodline of his father. Meaning you're the offspring of your father. And when you have a son, then that will be your bloodline. You continue his bloodline, which means you continue your granddaddy's bloodline. Meaning that there'd be a long list of Van Dykes in the earth if Yahuwah see fit. See, your father has 3 bloodlines that he has produced. So even if, say, the eldest, he don't get no sons to, his bloodline continues. But you know Yahuwah got to hate you. If you got 4 or 5 sons and none of them produce a son, that means he wants you out of here. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about, say, if you say your daddy got 5 sons and you the only son that don't get no sons, that means Yahuwah want to get rid of you. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying because, you know, I'm just adding the nuance into the whole place. Because it doesn't necessarily mean he want to wipe out your father or your grandfather. He might want to wipe out your actual family line. Like he told with Eli, I'm extinguishing your line. It's over with. Or like when he said when David said he was going to do with Nabal, I'm going to kill everything that pissed against the wall. I'm trying to eliminate an entire bloodline. But then you can have multiple sons and saying, you know what? Matter of fact, case in point, what Yahuwah did with Judah's sons. You know what I'm talking about? None of his sons produced a son. You know what I'm talking about? Except for Pharez, those 2, because the ones before that, he deemed them evil, cut them short. They ain't produced no son. He didn't want to get rid of Judah. He just said, I'm going to get rid of Onan and I'm going to get rid of I ain't fooling with them niggas. You know what I'm saying? They not reproducing. They out of here. You know what I'm talking about? But he didn't want to get rid of Judah. And he caused Judah to have 2 sons. And of course, we didn't talk about them. And they produced seed, which brought forth David. But when it came to them first 2 sons, he got rid of them.
So why if somebody has 5 sons and then if the other 4 have sons and the one doesn't have, and one doesn't have one?
That means Yahuwah didn't want him to have sons for a multitude of reasons that are above your pay grade for you to understand at this time and juncture in your life. But you're following along, and I appreciate that. Because what it means is Yahuwah doesn't want that man's life to continue. See, when your daddy had you, his life continues through you. You even have his name. It's like he's living twice at the same time. You know what I'm saying? But then the Lord decided, you know what? I give you 2 more. So that means your daddy living 3 times simultaneously. Because his essence is in each one of you. That means his daddy's essence is in him. Your granddaddy, his daddy. So you come from his daddy bloodline. And then you come from your great granddaddy bloodline.
And then I come from his bloodline.
Yes, you come from him.
So I come from everyone.
You come from every man in your family on your daddy's side. Not your grandma, not your granddaddy on your mama's side, your daddy's side. Your daddy's daddy.
So all the men in my family.
Huh?
So
Yes, all the men in your family. See, like I don't have my daddy's last name.
why don't you?
You'd have to ask my mother that. I wouldn't recommend you doing that. Because that's really none of your business. But I don't come from my mama's line. I come from my daddy's line. My daddy got 5 sons. I ain't even the oldest of his sons. Matter of fact, I'm the youngest. No, I'm not the youngest. I'm the second youngest. Because Champ younger than me. You know what I'm saying? But and this is important to understand this here, what we read in the Lamentations 3. Because he say he gave the son of his quiver and sacrificed him. That's what Lamentations 3 is telling you. That's what we read in Psalms 127. Because Psalms 127 tells you, lo, sons are the possession of Yahuwah. So understand that. Sons belong to Yahuwah. That takes you back to John chapter 1, that you were born sons of Elohim, not by the blood, not by the will of the flesh, not of man, but of Elohim. You are possessed and you belong to Yahuwah. That should take you back to the law when he told you all firstborn of the matrix belong to whom? Yahuwah. And remember, that doesn't mean firstborn seed. That means firstborn son that comes out a woman's womb. You understand? Because see, Joseph belonged to Yahuwah because that was the firstborn son of Rachel. Simeon belonged to Yahuwah because that was the firstborn son of Leah. The handmaid's children don't count because the handmaid's children are as if they were the children of the woman who they were handmaidens to. Handmaiden is a servant to a woman and a household. So y'all understand that, right? Simeon is the firstborn of, that's why when Simeon lost his birthright, that's why it's supposed to went to Joseph. Because Joseph is the firstborn of Rachel. You know what I'm talking about? And it says, as arrows are in the hand of a mighty man, so are sons of the youth. Happy is the man that has his quiver full of them. They shall not be ashamed, but they shall speak with the enemies in the gate. And again, for children here, it is translated Ben. See, I don't know why they like to put Ben. See, they like to put Ben there for a quote-unquote equality. Because they say children and make it seem if you're talking about boys and girls. But it's very rarely in the text that they isolated women if they were not explicitly talking about women. When you see children in the word, 99.9% of the time it's talking about sons. Because you got to understand, for lack of a better term, the way of Yahuwah is a patriarchal governmental setup. It's a setup by men, ruled by men, for the benefit of all men. And when we say men in this instance, because he called, and say, you know, he made male and female and called their name Adam. Because see, a lot of dudes in the word these days, they want to try to be politically correct. I ain't got time for that. That doesn't denote or diminish a woman, but it just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. A woman has a role, a man has a role. The man has to, like, I just, a clip played earlier today, and Kevin Samuels talking about the women set culture. That nigga's a jackass. Women don't set culture. Talking about the women, the mothers, the ones that teach culture to the children. No, the hell they don't. The man get the culture, he teach it to the wife. Like, where did the woman get the culture from, dumb nigga? That makes no sense. Huh? From her mama. No, he literally said that the women are the first teachers and they teach culture. That nigga was talking about period. That nigga dumb. I don't know what history books he been reading, because ain't no woman ever set no culture nowhere in mankind. Lamentations 3 and 12 yet again. 3 and 13 is actually. Let's look and see what we got for arrow in verse 12, Lil Johnny. Let's see what we got over there for it. See, now you got the regular word for arrow right there, Lil Johnny. You got cots. So when he say he bent his bow and he set my mark as an arrow, and then he turned around and he calls the son of his quiver to enter into my sacrificial animal. You know what I'm talking about? So in this Lamentations 3 and 13, he is definitely slid in here that he was going to offer up the son of his quiver. Psalms 127 benefits that because sons are a heritage of Yahuwah. Yahusha is the son of Elohim. Therefore, he is the heritage of Yahuwah. And blessed is he who have a quiver full of them. See, it's a blessing if a man have a lot of sons. See, it's only in modern times that we've been conditioned to say, I want a daughter. Because men in ancient times didn't want no daughters. They wanted sons. And a lot of them. And that's why even if they had daughters in the text, that's why you don't even see them mentioned. They don't even. Do y'all recall that Jacob had a daughter? See, y'all don't even recall that Jacob had a daughter. Michael, did you know Jacob had a daughter? Huh? What her name was? Look at you. She was on point. What happened to Dinah? How was she defiled? She was who? She said a hitchhike. He hitched a ride. I was gonna let you slide. That's right. That's right. But you don't understand, right? Most people don't even realize that he had a daughter. She's only mentioned in the story of this man having sex with her, and then them dude Reuben and Simeon killing him. Yeah, Simeon and Levi killing him. That's the only reason why she mentioned. But they don't even talk about David's daughters outside of Tamar, who got raped by her own brother. You know what I'm saying? They only talk about what his name is. Saul. They only talk about Saul's daughters because they hated David. And that's not to diminish daughters, is that just sons were more important because sons continue the bloodline. That's why sons are discussed like that. That's why when you, matter of fact, I heard, who did I hear say that? It might have been Kevin Samuels again, when nigga was saying the genealogy of kings go through the mama. It was that nigga. I mean, this nigga's a jackass. Ain't no genealogy go through no woman. Huh? Yeah, she did get dirty. You know, but I ain't gonna necessarily say the dude was that dirty because he wanted to marry Donna. He was really in love with her. He just had done went out of bounds. He just ain't want to just lay with her and dip. He really loved Donna. He wanted to marry her. I'm talking about he got circumcised and all. That boy was willing to get down with whatever they had going on. That's why Jacob was upset. Because he's like, boy, you gonna get me killed, man. So then they said we can go to war with him. They said, and turn my sister into a harlot? I think not. Can't even be mad at him. I can't be mad at Jacob, can't be mad at them. Everybody like this here. No, cuz we ain't with it. You know what I'm talking about? Huh? That's how you was raised. I am gonna worry about it. Roll your eyes again, nigga. You ain't gonna have no eyes. You gonna be Stevie Wonder out here. That's what they say. You say he can sing?
Yes, he was on stage and the mic fell and he picked it up before it dropped.
Reflexes.
He probably looked
No,
up.
he was following the two-step though. He was following the whole scene.
Man, look here, man. That man can't see. Because if he could see, he'd have fired his barber a long time ago.
How you follow a whole dance routine though? Oh no, he was with it too.
I mean, if you're a trained dancer and he been in music business, that's nothing. He's been in it since he was like a kid. He's been performing for over 50 years. Like I'm saying, I'm talking about I'm not saying that he can or can't see. What I'm saying is there's a reasonable explanation for somebody who's been performing for longer than anyone besides my mother has been alive. That's just second nature for him. But like I said, that nigga should fire his barber. He ain't got no friends.
That's all part of the act.
There ain't no act. Because that nigga braid started way back here. You know what I'm talking about? Had to.
They gave him a role. Playing it. Look at that role. Look at
Get back there.
Lord have mercy. Verse 14, y'all. Verse 14. Lamentations 3 and 14. Man, I ain't fooling these people. He said, I was a derision to all my people and their song all the day. Derision means to ridicule, to mock. And he filled me with the bitterness. He have made me drunken with wormwood. Quiver translates to sun, Tavon. Oh, no, quiver translates to quiver. Literal quiver for arrows. Arrows translates to sun. That's why we read Psalms 127. So you can see that Psalms 127 is referencing the sun. To the Lamentations chapter 3 is referencing Yahushua being that sun, and then him hitting his side, or him offering the son of his quiver because he belongs to his father, because sons are the heritage of Yahuwah. And that's why all those who born of the Lamb belong to Yahuwah. But you know what? We're going to stop this right here because we got 51 more verses to go through in this chapter. And we had 2 hours and 20 minutes, and that's long enough. So hallelujah for Yahushua and the word. We give praise and esteem to the living Elohim. Appreciate y'all time this evening. And maybe we'll do some more deep diving dealing with sons in regards to that particular passage. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate y'all, man. Love y'all. If who are willing, man, we'll pick it up on the next one. And until that time, what may I do for you, Jeremiah James Bird? What you want to show me, Jeremiah James Bird?